vertex cover of a graph is a subset of vertices Q such that, so a subset of vertices that contains at least one endpoint of every edge. And our objective is to find the minimum vertex cover. This is a 3 to 4. This is a vertex cover because every edge, like this one, so every edge is incident to any one of these vertex. And but the smallest, I think. So what would be the size of the minimum vertex cover? I think it is the minimum one. If I write 3 and 4 only, then this edge will be written. Okay, so this is the minimum vertex cover also. The size of the minimum vertex cover here is 3. Dominating set. Uh, in a graph GV, a set S of VG is a dominating set if each vertex in V minus S is adjacent to some vertex in S. So basically in vertex cover, it is a subset of vertices where every edge is incident to any one of them. Dominating set again is a subset of vertices where uh, every vertex is can be connected by an edge. So see if 3 and 4 is the minimum dominating set because 5 is adjacent to either 3 or 4. 2 is also adjacent to 4, even 3 also. 1 is adjacent to 4. So it is a subset of vertices which can dominate. So which can dominate the rest of them. So if S is the dominating set, then every vertex in V minus S is adjacent to some vertex in S. Every vertex in V minus S is adjacent to some vertex in S. And our objective is to find the minimum size vertex, minimum size dominating set. And in our course of NP completeness, we know that all these problems are NP complete problems. Coming to another definition called matching. So matching is a subset of edges with no shared endpoints. Okay. So, and a maximal matching in a graph is a matching in which the matching cannot be extended or enlarged by adding an edge. And maximum matching is a matching of maximum size among all the matchings in the graph. Now, a maximum matching must be a maximal matching, but the converse need not hold always. So, take an example. So, if you look into this graph, 3, 2 and 4, 1. So, matching is pairwise disjoint edges. So, this 3, 2 and 1, 4 are matching edges. Okay. Now, if you look into this graph, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3 is a matching. Again, 1, 2 and 3, 4 is also another matching. So, both matching are possible and both matching are maximal. Why both matching are maximal? Because if 2, 3 is selected as an edge of a matching, you cannot extend this matching by adding some edge. So it is a maximal matching, but it is not a maximum matching because the maximum matching is this. Okay, so that is why it is written every maximum matching is a maximal matching, but the converse need not hold always. So maximum matching is a matching of maximum size among all matchings in the graph, and matching is pairwise disjoint edges. Okay, or you can say that it is a set of non-loop edges with no shared endpoints. Just say 3, 2 and 1, 4, they are not sharing any endpoints. Okay, so these edges can be the edges of matching. Edge cover So it is again a subset of edges such that every vertex of G is incident to some edge of L. So edge cover is a subset of edges in the graph such that every vertex is incident to a subset L of edges such that every vertex is incident to some edges in L. जैसे यहाँ पे 3 2 5 4 4 1, this constitutes the edge cover because some vertex, all of the vertex are incident to some of these edges. Now our objective is to find the minimum edge cover, and as we have discussed that this finding minimum vertex cover, finding minimum dominant itself is an NP-complete problem, but finding maximum matching or finding minimum edge cover is not NP-complete. They are in P, so there are polynomial time algorithm exist for them. Okay, so coming to vertex connectivity. So a vertex cut of a graph G is a set S. Basically, it's a subset of vertices, deletion of which the graph has more than one component. Okay. So just a 3 4. Okay, this is a vertex cut. If you delete, then it will create more than one component. So the connectivity of a graph G is the minimum size of the vertex cut, which denotes the connectivity. So the connectivity of G is the minimum size of a vertex S such that G minus S is disconnected or has only one vertex. Okay. Now this portion or has only one vertex, this is this definition is adopted for complete graph. Say for example, we have a complete graph. Say this 1 to 4 is a complete graph. Okay. Now you cannot find a subset of vertices which disconnects the graph, because if you delete 1, 2 4 is connected. If you delete 2 also 1 4 is connected. If you delete 4 1 2 is connected. Okay. So basically for complete graph, this connectivity definition is changed a bit. The connectivity of G is the minimum size of a vertex set S such that either G minus S is disconnected or has only one vertex. तो इससे क्या होगा कि if it is a Kn, that is a complete graph of n vertices, then its connectivity is n minus 1, because deletion of n minus 1 vertices leaves the graph with a single vertex. A graph is called K connected if its connectivity is at least K. Okay, we will discuss this connectivity in greater detail in some later chapters. So for the time, we just keep in mind the definition of vertex cut. So basically, it's a subset of vertices, deletion of which create more than one component, or it has at least one vertex. Similarly, edge connectivity. The disconnecting set of edges is a set F, is a subset F of E edges such that G minus F has more than one component. Just say 2 3 and 3 5, if I delete them, it will create more than one component. Okay, so the edge connectivity of G is the minimum size of the disconnecting set. So here it is 2. The edge connectivity of this graph is 2. Similarly, the vertex connectivity of this graph is also 2. A graph is called KH connected if every disconnecting set has at least K edges. Okay. So we will discuss in detail for this definition in when we discuss the chapter of connectivity. Coloring. A coloring is called proper coloring if adjacent vertices have different color. Okay. So say for example, in this graph, it is a proper coloring because adjacent vertices have received a different color. A graph is called K colorable if it has a proper K coloring. That means with K colors, you can properly color this graph. By properly color, we mean that adjacent vertices will receive different colors. So with K colors, we can do that. The chromatic number of a graph is the value of minimum K for which it is K colorable. Just say for this graph, this is also a 5 colorable graph. Why? Because I can use 5 different colors to different vertices. It is also 4 colorable graph. Okay, we can use 4 colors also, such that we can the graph has a proper color. It is also 3 colorable as follows. So 3 4 receive the same color, 2 5 same color, and 1 receives a different color. But it is not 2 colorable. Okay, it is not 2 colorable. So minimum value of K is 3, for which it is 3 colorable. So it is clay colorable. So its chromatic number is 3. Okay. A graph is called a planar graph if it can be drawn in the plane without any edge crossing. This graph is a planar graph. So, however, there is edge crossing here. So you should draw this graph in such a way. So you bring one down here, and you can bring two inside this triangle 3 5 4. Okay, so they both have the same graph. Okay, but here there is no edge crossings. So this is a planar graph. However, this is a planar graph, but the drawing is not planar. So you see that a graph is planar if it can be drawn in the plane without edge crossing. So this graph can be drawn in the plane without edge crossing in this fashion. So it is a planar graph. So this graph is also a planar graph. Okay, and this without edge crossing, the drawing without edge crossing is called planar embedding of a graph. Okay. Now, अच्छा एक चीज पूछना था. So in your algorithm course, do we have discussed the lecture on detection of card vertices and card edges using DFS? So whether this algorithm is being discussed in your algorithm course?
No, sir, I didn't.
Huh?
No, matching we discussed that, but I don't think we discussed using DFS cut and those vertical.
नहीं, टार्चन का एक एल्गोरिदम है जिससे हम मतलब वर्टेक्स लाइक कार्ड वर्टेक्स एंड कार्ड एज हम लोग डिटरमिन कर सकते हैं. तो ये एल्गोरिदम क्या मैंने पढ़ाया था आप लोगों के बैच में?
No, sir. No.
ओके ओके, अच्छा ठीक है. तो मैं अभी क्या करता हूँ, मैं ये ऑयलर ग्राफ का डेफिनेशन, ऑयलर ग्राफ मैं बाद में पढ़ाऊंगा. अभी मैं एक एल्गोरिदम आप लोगों को पढ़ा देता हूँ. ओके, so this card vertex or articulation point is a node in an undirected graph. A node in an undirected graph is an articulation point or card vertex if and only if removing this node disconnects the graph. Articulation points represent the vulnerabilities in a network. Single points whose failure would split the network into two or more disconnected components. Similarly, cartage is in an undirected graph. Cartage is such an edge removing of which disconnects the graph. Okay, so if we look into this graph, there are few cut vertices, that C, E, H, L, these are cut vertices, because if I remove C, it will create more than one component. If I remove E, it will create more than one component. Same as for H and L also. Okay, so these are the cut vertices, and the cut edges are EG and LM, because if I remove EG, it creates more than one component. If I remove LM, it creates more than one component. Okay, so now the question is how to, given an undirected graph, undirected unweighted graph, how do we determine the cut vertices and cut edges? So this is an application of depth first search, and this algorithm was developed by Robert Turgeon, and this paper was published in Journal of the ASM, I think, in 1984, and it's a famous paper. It's a famous work by Robert Turgeon. So today we will discuss that algorithm that is devised by Turgeon. Okay. Now, since it is an undirected graph, undirected unweighted graph, we know that that if I run a DFS on it, DFS always gives you a DFS tree. And not only that, the edges in the DFS tree is called tree edges, and the other edges are called non-tree edges or back edges. Okay. So in an undirected graph, if I run a DFS, we will come up with two kind of edges. The first kind is tree edges, which is the edges determined by the DFS itself, and other edges are called back edges or non-tree edges. And we know that the existence of these back edges basically says that the graph has a cycle. And in this graph also there are several cycles, so there are several back edges also. So this is the DFS of this graph. So we see this the order in which these vertices are visited in a DFS. So first this vertex A is visited. So that is 1, then B, this is 2, then C, this is 3, then coming to 4, D is 4, then F is 5, I is 6, K is 7, K to C, this is a back edge because C is already visited, so that is why it is dotted, because it's a back edge. Then I come back to 6, come back to I, so from I to D, I see that D is already visited, so ID is a back edge. Again I come back from I to F, so it's a backtracking. From F to D there is a backtracking. From D to C there is another backtracking. Then the discovery time of E is 8. So last discovery was K, that is 7. So this is discovery time is 8. I should say that it is the 8th visited vertex. Then go to 9. Then I have to backtrack from here again, come back to 8. Then we have to go to H. This is 10. Then J, then L, then M. So 10, 11, 12, 13. From M we can again come back to L, but LH is a back edge, so that is why it is dotted. So we again come back L to J, backtracking, J to H, backtracking, H to B. I see that B is already visited, so HB is a back edge. Even H to A is a back edge. So dotted edges are basically back edge and solid edges are basically tree edges. So that is how actually DFS is being performed here. Now the contribution of Robert Turgeon is, so suppose there is no algorithm is known till date, suppose. In that case, what could be our approach to solve this problem? If somebody asks us to find out the cut vertices. So one approach could be, we remove one vertex at a time and we see whether the graph is disconnected or not. If it is disconnected, then that vertex is a cut vertex. If it is not disconnected, then it is not a cut vertex. So we have V vertices. For each of the vertices, the algorithm runs for order of V plus E times. So V into V plus E. So order of VE algorithm is there. Okay. Now, what And the same thing can be repeated for finding out the cut edges. So you remove every edge and you run a DFS and you check whether the graph is disconnected or not. If the graph is disconnected, then that particular edge is a cut edge. So in that case, to find the cut edge, it is E. There are E number of edges followed by the DFS complexity. So V plus E. So this turns out to be E square. Now the contribution of Robert Turgeon is Robert Turgeon has visited this graph only once. That means order of V plus E time, and with this single visit, he can determine which vertices are cut vertices and which edges are cut edges. That is his contribution. So it's a remarkable achievement because it is order of 1 into V plus E algorithm. So you cannot give a better algorithm than this. So this is the lower bound also. Now, what is the observation that Robert Turgeon actually made to find out this algorithm? So what are the intuition behind this algorithm? So here first we have run the DFS. We got a DFS tree which is determined by the solid edges, and we have the back edges which is basically dotted edges. Now what Robert Turgeon has observed, few things, 3 things specifically he has observed. The first thing is root node. When I am saying root node, it is with respect to the DFS tree. So it is root node of the DFS tree. Root node of the DFS tree is an articulation point if and only if it has more than one child. Okay. यहाँ पे root node is not an articulation point. Why? Because it has, in normal graph, it has more than one child. Sorry. So basically, root node of a DFS tree is an articulation point if it has more than one child in the DFS tree. So मैं इसको थोड़ा सा root node in the DFS tree is an articulation point if and only if it has more than one child in the tree, in the DFS tree. Root node in the DFS tree is an articulation point if and only if it has more than one child in the DFS tree. यहाँ पे देखो root node का एक ही child है in the DFS tree. This is the DFS tree like A, B, C. So एक अगर मैं draw कर लूँ इसको, now this is the tree. So this is the root node of the DFS tree. It has only single child. Okay. So it cannot be an articulation point. This is the first observation he has made. He means the Turgeon has made. Leaf node in the DFS tree cannot be an articulation point. Okay. तो यहाँ पे K आया है. It is the leaf node. G is the leaf node. M is the leaf node. Okay. So none of the leaf nodes. So all of the leaf nodes cannot be articulation point. And the third observation what he has made is, if it is a non-leaf or non-root node, that means he talks about root node first, he talks about leaf nodes then. Except root and leaf node, that is a non-leaf and a non-root node U is an articulation point if and only if no back edge goes above U from a subtree below some child of U. Okay. So this is the observation from which actually he develops the algorithm. I will again repeat this. Okay. A non-leaf and a non-root node U is an articulation point, is a cut vertex if and only if there is no back edge goes above U from a subtree below some child of U. जैसे C is an articulation point. If you look into here, C is an articulation point. Why? So according to this observation, a non-leaf and non-root node use. C is a non-leaf and non-root node in the DFS tree. U is an articulation point if and only if no back edge goes above U. यहाँ पे जितने भी बैक एज है तो सी के जितने भी सी के नीचे जितने भी बैक एज है दे नेवर गोज ओवर यू फ्रॉम एनी चाइल्ड ऑफ इट. सो सी के चाइल्ड है डी. सो डी या उससे नीचे जितने भी है डी या उससे नीचे जितने भी है उससे किसी से भी आइदर डी और एफ और आई और के किसी से भी कोई बैक एज सी के ऊपर नहीं गया है इन द डीएफएस ट्री. सिंस दिस इज नॉट द केस, that means C is a articulation point.
ऊपर नहीं गया है मतलब तो बी है नहीं.
हाँ
मतलब जैसे C के ऊपर बी और ए है तो उधर नहीं जानी चाहिए पैकेज.
हाँ राइट. एक मैं एक पिक्चर ड्रॉ करता हूँ इसके बाद मैं उससे थोड़ा सा आई थिंक क्लियर हो जाए.
So means earlier visited.
एक मिनट जस्ट थोड़ा सा. तो ये मेरा डीएफएस ट्री है. ठीक है. तो अभी मैं बता रहा हूं कि ये यू U is an articulation point if there is no back edge there is no back edge from here which goes above U. Goes above U means DFS tree में either यहाँ से so a non-leaf and non-root node U is an articulation point if no non-tree edge, no back edge goes above U from a subtree below some child of U. मतलब ये सब सब ट्री. सो दीज आर द चाइल्ड ऑफ यू एंड दीज आर द सब ट्रीज ऑफ दोस चाइल्ड. यहां से यू के ऊपर तक कोई एज नहीं गया होगा बैक एज. सो दीज आर द ट्री एजेस एंड दिस इज ए बैक एज. सो
So basically, sir, it is like all the edges remain inside the subtree rooted at U.
Can you repeat?
All the edges inside the subtree U remain in the subtree rooted at U.
All the back edges basically. जैसे so say for example B is not a in this graph B is not a cut edge. Sorry, B is not a cut vertex. Why it is not a cut vertex? Because it has some so B का child कौन है यहाँ पे मैं देखूं. So ये B का पूरा ट्री है. तो B के नीचे जो सब ट्री है ये पूरा चीज है, ये पूरा चीज. So even including age also. Okay, so B is not a vertex. B is not a card vertex. The reason is there is a back edge B. So B के नीचे कोई ट्री मान लो, ये सब B के नीचे ट्री है, B के नीचे ये पूरा ट्री आ रहा है, पूरा सब ट्री आ रहा है B के नीचे. तो B का एक ही चाइल्ड है इन दिस DFS ट्री, दैट इज C. तो इसके नीचे ये पूरा सब ट्री आ रहा है. इसमें किसी भी नोड से बैक एज अगर B के ऊपर जाता है, B पे नहीं, B के ऊपर जाता है, देन इट इज नॉट ए कार्ड. तो यहाँ पे जा रहा है, H से A जा रहा है. If HA is not there, if this edge is not there, then B will be a card vertex. So when ये जो भी observation है, this observation are with respect to this DFS spanning tree. Okay, it is a spanning tree because in a DFS tree, every vertex of the graph is included. So that is why it is a DFS spanning tree. So a non-leaf and a non-root node U is an articulation point. If an non-leaf, no back edges goes above you from a subtree below it. Okay, so B is not a vertex because इसके subtree में H है, H से एक back edge A तक गया है. That is why B cannot be a card edge. So you can take other examples also. जैसे E is a card vertex, E के लिए ठीक है, H भी एक card vertex है. J cannot be a card vertex. Why? Because J के नीचे है L. क्योंकि J के बाद L मैं ट्रावर्स कर रहा हूं, बट L से एक बैक एज J के ऊपर गया है, H तक गया है. So J cannot be a card vertex. Okay. So the same thing for K. K is not a card vertex. Why? Because K is not a card vertex because it is a leaf node. So leaf node in the graph cannot be a card vertex. Okay, K के जगह अगर मैं बोलूं I is not a card vertex because I के नीचे आ रहा है K and K से एक बैक एज जा रहा है C तक, which is above I. I is not a card vertex. Why I is not a card vertex? किंतु in this DFS tree I के बाद K विजिट करा, तो K is a child of I, जहां से एक बैक एज C में जा रहा है, which C is above I in this DFS tree. So that is why I cannot be a card vertex. तो ये जो observations है, this is the observation done by Tarjan, and based on this observation he has developed this algorithm, and we will study this algorithm right now. Okay, but to study this algorithm, okay, so what Tarjan has done. So Tarjan इसके लिए, तो हम लोग जब DFS डिस्कस किए थे, हम लोगों ने DFS में एक असाइनमेंट में हम लोग जो किए थे कि फॉर एवरी नोड ऑफ ए ग्राफ वी विल मेंटेन टू वेरिएबल्स, डिस्कवरी टाइम एंड फिनिश टाइम, या स्टार्ट टाइम एंड फिनिश टाइम. ये चीज हम लोग पॉपुलेट किए थे ड्यूरिंग आवर एल्गोरिथम कोर्स, इफ यू रिकॉल. लाइक ये 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, then when I coming back here, so I put it 8 here. Okay, then I put 9 here, 10 here, like that. So for each vertex I have populated the start time or discovery time and finish time. what Tarzan has done कि टार्जन भी डिस्कवरी टाइम कंसीडर कर रहा था, बट इसके साथ एक वैल्यू हर एक नोड के लिए मेंटेन कर रहा था, दैट इज कॉल्ड लो वैल्यू. So what Tarzan has done in the data structure, in the every node, apart from the discovery time, he is maintaining a low value. What is that low value? How that low value is populated, and how that low value help us to determine whether it is a cut vertex or whether it is a cut edge, that we will see soon. Okay, but the thing is, for each vertex he maintained two separate variables. For each vertex he maintained a discovery time as well as a low value, and we'll see how this low value is being populated. So low of u is the minimum discovery of any vertex that is either in the DFS subtree rooted at u, including u itself, or connected to a vertex in that subtree by a back edge. So low u, what is its meaning, is the minimum discovery of any vertex that is either in the DFS subtree rooted at u or connected to a vertex in that subtree by a back edge. Key idea is some child u is low. Okay, for the time मैं ये slide को ignore कर रहा हूँ. We directly run the algorithm and see how it works. ठीक है? So initially I start my DFS from the node A. यहाँ पे 1/1 है. The first one, the slash के left side में जो चीज है, that is my discovery value. As slash के right side में जो है, that is my low value. Initially, when I first visit, the first time I visit a vertex, its low value equal to its discovery value. Okay. So initially I visited A, its low value is 1, its discovery value is 1, and so its low value is also 1. We go to B, its discovery value is 2, low value is also 2. We go to C, it is 3, 3, D 4, 4, F 5, 5, I 6, 6, okay. I 6, 6. Now there are two possibilities. From I it may go to K or it may go to D. If it goes to K, then it will be 7, 7. But if it is go to D, in that case it shows that D is already visited. So D is, ID is a back edge, right? So when it find this back edge, it updates its low value as follows. It is minimum of its own low value, minimum of its low value and the discovery value of the vertex where it reaches through the back edge. That means I से ये reach कहाँ पे कर रहा है, D में कर रहा है. D का discovery value क्या है, 4. तो 4 इस D का discovery value and I का जो low value, इन दोनों का जो minimum है, that will be populated as its low value. So this is 4. So back edge is ID. So low of I is basically minimum of low of I and discovery of D. Okay. Now again it goes to K. It is 7, 7. Then KC is a back edge. Since KC is a back edge, so low value of K will be updated to 3 because it is the discovery of minimum of discovery of this C and low value of K. Okay, so KC is a back edge. So low of K is basically minimum of low of K, that was 7 earlier, and discovery of C, that is 3. Now if you look into this, if you look into these values, इससे क्या समझ में आ रहा है, what this low value actually signifies. Okay. अच्छा, अभी नहीं, थोड़ा सा बाद में जाते हैं. ये पूरा एल्गोरिथम एक बार एग्जीक्यूट कर लेते हैं, then we will see what this low value actually signifies. तो फॉर द टाइमिंग एक चीज ऑब्जर्व कर लो कि K का लो वैल्यू है 3. इसका मतलब यह है कि फ्रॉम ए वर्टेक्स K इन द DFS ट्री I can reach the lowest vertex that I can reach is 3 itself. जैसे K is the 7th vertex in the DFS tree, but through back edge I can reach to 3. So basically low value, why it is called low value? Because low value signifies the minimum discovery value of a vertex, which basically लो वैल्यू सिग्निफाइज कि तुम कोई एक वर्टेक्स का लो वैल्यू सिग्निफाइज कि उस वर्टेक्स से तुम कौन से वर्टेक्स में थ्रू बैक एज जा सकते हो, कौन से मिनिमम वर्टेक्स में तुम जा सकते हो. मिनिमम वर्टेक्स मतलब द वर्टेक्स हैविंग मिनिमम डिस्कवरी टाइम. तो के से बैक एज से तुम सबसे नीचे जो वर्टेक्स जा सकते हो सी, जिसका डिस्कवरी वैल्यू है 3. दैट इज व्हाई इट इज 3. अभी जब मैं हम लोग कहां तक आए थे? अच्छा, हम लोग पीछे चले जाते हैं. First 1 1, then 2 2, 3 3, 4 4, 5 5, 6 6. Now from here it is 6 4. It is 7 7. Then it is 7 3. Then it is a back edge. So now at this time it comes back to K, and from K there is no other neighbor. So from K it will backtrack. While backtracking through the tree edges, what it will do, it will again update this value. So ki जब k से जब i में वो बैक ट्रैक करेगा तो i का लो वैल्यू फिर से अपडेट होगा. क्या अपडेट होगा? इट विल बी द लो वैल्यू ऑफ मिनिमम ऑफ लो वैल्यू ऑफ k and low value of i. So it will be 3. So when backtracking through a tree edge ik, then low of I is minimum of low I and low k. And why that is so? This is so because it says that a low value updation is needed. The reason is from I also I can reach to C with some tree edges and back edges. So that is why this updation. So this updation actually helps this subtree to update with that low value. That means this low value signifies के इस I से मैं back edge यूज करके कहां तक पहुंच सकता हूं. What is the minimum vertex that I can reach through tree edges and back edges? So this is 3. Again I से F मैं back track कर रहा हूं तो इसका low value भी 3 हो जाएगा. फिर F से मैं D लौट रहा हूं, इसका भी low value 3 हो जाएगा. Then मैं D से C लौट रहा हूं, यहां पे भी low value minimum of 3 and 3. Now at this stage we call it is a cut vertex. Why? Since discovery of C is less than equal to
So you're not audible.
sorry, no. So जब मैं यहाँ पे लौटा, when I come back here, I see that at this point what I feel that when I am backtracking through this tree edge CD was the tree edge जिससे मैं backtrack कर रहा हूँ. Then this low value is again updated by low C and low D. So low C was earlier, it was 4. So it was 4 4. So अभी मैं FD से backtrack कर रहा हूँ. So this 4 will be 3. Then DC से मैं backtrack कर रहा हूँ. So it will be again 3. Minimum of 3 and 3 will be 3. Now since discovery time of C, that is 3, is less than equal to low of D. Low of D is 3. So C is a card vertex. Okay, we move through the algorithm and we'll see how it actually relates. Then we from C to E will go. It is 8 8 for the first time E is discovered because K का discovery time का 7, so इसका discovery time 8 ही होगा. So 8 8. Then G will be 9 9. Now when I backtrack, okay, so when I backtrack from G, the low value of E will be low value minimum of low value of E and low value of 9, low value of G. So 9 8 का minimum है 8, so it is again 8. But at this stage, since discovery of E is less than equal to low of G, discovery of E, that is 8, that is less than equal to low of G, that is 9, so E is a card vertex. And since discovery of E is strictly less than low of G, since discovery of E is strictly less than low of G, that is 8 strictly less than 9, that is why it is a card edge also. So I will again repeat. यहाँ पे देखो, यहाँ पे less than equal to है, यहाँ पे less than है. अगर it is a less than equal to thing, if discovery of E while backtracking, when discovery of E, that is 8, less than equal to low of G, that is 9, so E is a card vertex. Even discovery of E is strictly less than low of G, 8 strictly less than 9, so it is a card edge. Now if we go back a little bit, okay, इसमें हम 6 इसके पहले जाते हैं. पहले 4 4 5 5 6 6, then 6 4 is updated, then 7 7. Then I encountered KC as a back edge, so its low is basically minimum of its low value and minimum of the discovery value of C. So minimum of low value of K and discovery of C. So it is updated. Now while coming back through, backtracking through this edge, we see that since discovery of I is greater than, discovery of 6 is greater than low of K, 6 greater than 3, so it cannot be a card vertex. Okay, अगर ये less than equal to K होता तब ये card vertex होता. That we will see. Discovery of C is less than equal to low of D, 3 less than equal to 3, that is why it is a card vertex. But since discovery of C, both are 3, 3 less than equal to 3 is valid, so C is a card vertex. But since discovery of C is not strictly less than low of D, that is why CD cannot be a card edge. If discovery of C ऐसा होता कि it is 2 and low of D होता 3, in that case CD will be a card edge also. But since discovery of C is less than equal to low of D, so it is a card vertex. But since it is not strictly less than low of D, so it cannot be a card edge. So CD cannot be a card edge. Now we go to E 8 8.
Now, what is the logic behind this? Of
You
determining
think-
the cut edge?
हाँ, you think, ये मैं आपको नहीं बोलूंगा. ये जो ऑब्जर्वेशंस हैं, ये ऑब्जर्वेशंस मैं आप लोगों को बता दिया हूं. आप लोग थोड़ा सा सोचो कि क्यों ये होगा और क्यों ये नहीं होगा. क्यों कार्ड वर्टेक्स के लिए लेस देन इक्वल टू हो रहा है और ये लेस देन हो रहा है. ये वेरी ऑब्वियस है, इतना नहीं कि ये बहुत डीप थॉट लगेंगे. 8 8 हुआ, देन 9 9 हुआ, देन 9 9 से जब ये G से ये बैक ट्रैक कर रहा है E तक, तब ये व्हाट इज सेइंग कि discovery of E is less than equal to low of G. That is why E is a card vertex. But discovery of E is strictly less than low of G, so it is a card edge. थोड़ा सा अभी सोचोगे तो अभी मतलब अभी सोच पाओगे क्यों इट इज card edge के लिए strictly less than है. ये चीज तभी सोच पाओगे जब लो वैल्यू का पॉपुलेशन जैसे हो रहा है, इसका सिग्निफिकेंस हम समझ में आएगा. We will go into this. हम लोग यहाँ पे खत्म नहीं हो रहे हैं. We'll discuss it more. Then हम लोग E से जा रहे हैं H तक. 10-10, then J, sorry, 10-10 के बाद H भी ये explore कर रहा है, which is a back edge. So its low value will be discovery minimum of discovery value of B and low value of H. So that is 2. Then it is 11-11, then it is 12-12, then it is 13-13. Then when it come backtrack through this, it's found that discovery of L is less than equal to low of M. Discovery of L 12 is less than equal to 13. So it is a cut vertex. Okay. But it is not, and also it is strictly less than, so discovery of L is also strictly less than low of M. So LM is also a cut edge also. Now it goes by this LH. LH is a back edge, so its low value will be updated to 2. So when it goes to LH, so iska discovery hai, so this is a back edge, so it will be 10, sorry, it will be 10. So minimum of discovery of H and its low value 12, so it will be 10. Okay. Again from here itself, it will backtrack to J. So J का भी low value हो जाएगा minimum of 11 and 10. Minimum of this 11 and 10, it is also 10. Then it goes to JH. So it will be minimum of 10 and 2. So again it is 2. But at this stage, when it backtracking to 3H, low of H is minimum of low H and low J. So this is 2. And since discovery of H less than equal to discovery of H, that is 10, is less than equal to low J. So it is a cut vertex. But since discovery of H, that is 10, not strictly less than low of J. So it cannot, HJ cannot be a cut edge. Okay. Then the last is HA. When HA is a back edge, so the low value will be updated to 1. Okay, again it backtrack to HE. So it will be 1, then it is C. So it will be 1. Then it goes to B. It will be 1, and finally it reaches here. So at this stage, you see that all the cut vertex and cut edges are determined. But if you, when this algorithm terminates, you see the values, the discovery values as well as the low values. अभी low values को अच्छे से study हम लोग करते हैं. Discovery values, we know that discovery values is basically in the DFS, during DFS, when we first encounter the vertex, when we first discover the vertex. So that is the discovery time. That we already know. Now, if we look into the final low values, what this low value signifies? अच्छा, कोई एक रैंडम वर्टेक्स उठा लेते हैं. सपोज F मैं उठा लेता हूं. F का लो वैल्यू है 3. इसका मतलब यह है कि F से मैं 3H बैक एज कैसे भी हो, सॉरी, इसका मतलब यह है कि इसका F का लो वैल्यू 3, इसका मतलब यह है कि F के नीचे जो सब ट्री है, DFS सब ट्री है, वहां से जो बैकेज है, बैकेज से मैं मिनिमम, मतलब F के ऊपर कौन से वर्टेक्स में मैं रीच कर सकता हूं. तो F के नीचे जो सब ट्री है, दैट इज I एंड K से बैकेज है C तक, तो इसका वैल्यू है 3. सो दैट मीन्स F के नीचे जो सब ट्री है, F के नीचे जो सब ट्री मीन्स DFS का जो सब ट्री है, फ्रॉम देयर थ्रू बैकेज I can first reach the vertex whose discovery value is 3. तो F से मैं इस वर्टेक्स का रीच कर सकता हूं. सिमिलरली अगर मैं इस C वर्टेक्स को देखूं, इसका लो वैल्यू है 1. इसका मतलब यह है कि इस DFS ट्री में C के नीचे जो सब ट्री है, C के नीचे 2 सब ट्री है. एक सब ट्री में DFI के है, दूसरे सब ट्री में EGHJLM है. तो इसके C के नीचे जो 2 सब ट्री है, इसमें बैक एज से मैं सबसे कम जो वर्टेक्स को रीच कर सकता हूं C के ऊपर, वो है 1, CEHA. ओके, सो इवन मैं B में भी रीच कर सकता हूं, CEHB, बट CEHA इज ऑल्सो देयर. तो मिनिमम कौन से वर्टेक्स को C के नीचे सब ट्री से, सो बेसिकली लो वैल्यू सिग्निफाइज तो लो वैल्यू ऑफ ए वर्टेक्स, क्या ये बोल रहा है? Gives the minimum discovery time of a vertex that can be reached from any of its subtree. So low value of a vertex U gives the minimum discovery time of a vertex V that can be reached from any vertex of its subtree. Through backage. So low value of a vertex U gives the minimum discovery time. So यहाँ पे low vertex. So low vertex of C gives the minimum discovery time of, so 1 भी हो सकता था, 2 भी हो सकता था. इसमें इसके डिस्कवरी टाइम कम है सबसे. सो C के नीचे जितने भी वर्टेक्स हैं, C के नीचे एक सब ट्री है DFIK का, एक सब ट्री है EGHJLM का. किसी भी सब ट्री से बैकेज के थ्रू सबसे ऊपर C के ऊपर कितना जा सकता है, सबसे मिनिमम डिस्कवरी टाइम किसको ये टच कर सकता है? B को भी टच कर सकता है, A को भी टच करता है, बट A का डिस्कवरी टाइम कम है. So this is 1. That is why this is 1. So that is actually the significance of this low value. अभी तुम देखो कि y कार्टेज का कंडीशन ये है और कार्ट वर्टेक्स का कंडीशन दूसरा है. जैसे HL, so backtrack to tree edge HJ. So J से H में backtrack किया. When I backtrack it, low of H is basically low of H and low of J. So it is 2. It was earlier it was 2. Now it is also 2. Now at this stage you see that the discovery of H is less than equal to low j. So discovery of H, that is 10, okay, and low of J, that is also 10. So 10 less than equal to 10. So H is a card vertex. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि तुम इस नोड से नीचे जितने भी सब ट्री है उससे थ्रू बैक एज इसके H के ऊपर नहीं जा सकते हो. H यहां पे देखो, बैक ट्रैक थ्रू ट्री एज, H लो H इज, सो लो ऑफ, तुम लो H को पॉपुलेट कर लिए. वंस इट इज डन, देन यू से दैट डिस्कवरी ऑफ H, दैट इज 10 इज दिस डिस्कवरी टाइम. H is the 10th vertex that is being discovered, और लो J that is also 10. इसका मतलब यह है कि H के नीचे जितने भी vertex है, from them through back edge you can reach maximum H and not above it. Since you cannot reach above it, so H must be a cut vertex. Now यहां पे देखो, जहां पे इसमें जाते हैं 3 3, then it is 8 8, this is 9 9, then I backtrack through it. When I backtrack through it, I populate, so I see that its low value is remaining 8. Okay, now discovery of E is the 8th vertex that is discovered, and G का लो वैल्यू है 9. इसका मतलब यह है कि G से तुम E के ऊपर नहीं जा सकते. G से तुम E के ऊपर नहीं जा सकते. सिंस तुम E के ऊपर नहीं जा सकते, तो E is a cut vertex. Now if it is strictly less than 9, if discovery E is strictly less than low G, so discovery of E is 8 and low of G is 9. इसका मतलब यह है कि G से अगर तुम मिनिमम कोई वर्टेक्स रीच कर सकते हो थ्रू बैक एज, दैट इज 9 इटसेल्फ, और ये है 8, तो इसके दौरान एक एज है, सो ये एज विल एक्ट एज ए काटेज. यू सी हियर दैट जहां पे जैसे C is a cut vertex, but CD is not a cartage. Why? C is a cut vertex because C के जो डिस्कवरी टाइम है और इसके जो लो वैल्यू है, D के जो लो वैल्यू है, बोथ आर सेम, both are 3 3. So from C through back edge you can reach to C. So CD cannot be a cartage. D का लो वैल्यू है 3. So you can, इसका मीनिंग ये है कि D से थ्रू बैक एज तुम ये 3 को रीच कर सकते हो. That is why CD cannot be a cartage. That is why it is less than equal to. But since तुम C को रीच कर सकते हो, तो C will be a cut vertex. Are you getting this point? What is the difference between this less than and less than equal to? Basically this low value C से C का लो है, C का डिस्कवरी टाइम है D. तो हम लोग अभी एक्सप्लेन ये कर रहे हैं क्यों CD is not a cartage whereas C is a cut vertex. चीज ये है कि CD से जब मैं बैक ट्रैक करके आ गया, देन मैं देख रहा हूं कि बैक ट्रैक टू CD. At this stage you see that the low value of C is 3 and sorry, the discovery value of C is 3 and low value of D is 3. लो वैल्यू का मतलब क्या है कि C के D से D के नीचे जितने भी सब ट्री है वहां से थ्रू बैक एज तुम कहां तक जा सकते हो. तुम जा सकते हो डी के नीचे बैकेज से 3 तक, तो सी डी में तुम सी से बेसिकली सी रीच कर सकते हो, दैट इज वाई सी के ऊपर नहीं रीच कर सकते हो, तो इन दैट केस सी इज ए कट वर्टेक्स, बट सी डी कैनॉट बी ए कट एज. व्हाई इट कैनॉट बी ए कट एज? बिकॉज इसका डिस्कवरी टाइम है 3, इसका भी लो टाइम है 3. इसका मतलब यह है कि इस एज को तुम बाईपास कर सकते हो थ्रू सम बैकेज, and that package will lead to the value 3, the discovery lead to the vertex C whose discovery time is 3. what I suggest कि तुम एक बार इस स्लाइड्स को पढ़ो, आई थिंक क्लियर हो जाएगा, इतना डिफिकल्ट नहीं है. यहाँ पे मेन चीज जो समझने का चीज है कि हाउ दिस लो वैल्यू इज बीइंग पॉपुलेटेड. हाउ इज ओके, हाउ पार्ट इज वेरी easy because that's a procedure, but why that is so, what is the significance of this low value, that is very important. So that is written in this last slide, what I have written here.
Sir,
हाँ बोलो.
like if low value is very low, so we can reach upper part of the graph. So there will be like alternate path, so that will be connected. But if low value is exactly equal to discovery time, that will be like a cycle to that vertex. So
Exactly.
it can cut edge, but that will be a cut vertex, and because there is no upward relationship. And if that is low of D is exactly higher, that means that we cannot even reach C, but we are confined in the subgraph at D.
right. बेसिकली अगर तुम देखोगे ये ई से, एक्चुअली यहाँ के अगर मैं एक छोटा ग्राफ डाउनलोड कर देता तो और भी बढ़िया हो. तो क्या हो रहा है कि ये ई जी जो है, तुम देख रहे हो कि यहाँ पे जी से ई के ऊपर तुम नहीं जा पा रहे हो. नॉट ओनली ई के ऊपर, तुम ई तक भी नहीं पहुंच पा रहे हो. तुम अगर ई तक पहुंच पाते थ्रू सम बैकेज, इन दैट केस ई विल बी द कट वर्टेक्स, बट ई जी कैनॉट बी ए कट एज. बट जी का लो वैल्यू सिग्निफाई ये कर रहा है कि जी से तुम जी तक ही लौट पाते हो, जी से तुम जी तक ही लौट पाते हो, ई के ऊपर नहीं जा सकते हो. सो ई जी मस्ट बी ए कट एज. That is why strictly less than actually signifies that it is a cut edge, and equal value signifies less than or equal to value signifies actually it is a cut vertex. Anyways, if there is a cut edge, definitely there is a cut vertex. Not, but vice versa is not true. See, in this is a cut edge, so one of the vertex must be a cut vertex. This is a cut edge, one of the vertex must be a cut vertex. So this is the algorithm developed by Robert Tarjan, and so with this अच्छा, फिर हम लोग हमारे ओरिजिनल डिस्कशन में लौटे. तो टुडे मैं एक एल्गोरिदम पढ़ा दिया तो सच दैट थोड़ा सा अच्छा लगे कि थोड़ा सा एल्गोरिदम भी डिस्कस हो रहा है. एंड देन So हम लोग पहले कुछ डेफिनेशन हम लोग ने डिस्कस किया था, लाइक वर्टेक्स कवर, लाइक डोमिनेटिंग सेट, वर्टेक्स कनेक्टिविटी, एज कनेक्टिविटी, कलरिंग, प्लेनर ग्राफ। अच्छा, ये जो एल्गोरिथम में आज डिस्कस किया, ये क्या बेरा सर आप लोग को डिस्क्रीट मैथ में पढ़ा चुके हैं?
नो सर।
ओके ओके, अच्छा ठीक है। तो नाउ वी विल मूव टू एन इंटरेस्टिंग ग्राफ दैट इज कॉल्ड ऑयलर ग्राफ, and we will study few properties of Euler graph, and we will discuss few algorithms also. So one algorithm, let's see, we move forward and then, yeah,
We take 2 minutes.
sorry,
Sir, can we take 2 minutes break?
sure, please have a break, please have a break. So we will have a 2 minutes break, then we will come back. Okay. So Euler graph. So in our earlier discussion, we have discussed what is walk, what is trail, what is path. So I will again repeat. Trail is a walk with no repeated edges. So in trail, vertex can be repeated, but edge cannot be repeated. Okay. So there is no repetition of edge. That is the thing that you need to use. So a graph is called an Euler graph if it has a closed trail containing all the edges. What does that mean is, so suppose this graph is an Euler graph. Why? Because you can find a closed trail containing all the edges. So say start from any one, say for you start from 1 to 1 you go to 4, from 4 you may go to 5, then you go to 2, again you come back to 4. So vertex 4 is repeated, but that is allowed. Then 4 to 3, 3 to 2, again 2 is repeated and coming back to 1. So in this, it is a closed trail because it will, the start vertex and end vertex are same. So it is a close. It is a trail because no vertices has been repeated. Sorry, no edge has been repeated. And it is such a closed trail which contain all the edges of the graph. So if you see here 1 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 3, 3 to 2, 2 to 1. So a graph is Eulerian if it has a closed trail containing all the edges. So Euler graph अगर किसी आपको बोलते हैं तो the first thing, the important, if G is Euler, if the graph G is Euler, then immediately you can write this that this graph has a closed trail containing all the edges. Okay, because this you have got from the definition itself. An even graph is a graph with vertex degrees all even. So all vertex has even degree. Then it is called an even graph. A vertex is odd when its degree is odd. When some degree is odd. Similarly, a vertex is even if its degree is even. So even graph is all vertex is of even degree. Okay. Now, maximal path. A maximal path in a graph G is a path P in G that is not contained in a longer path. Okay, this is a very important definition, and why it is important you will find that there are several proofs that that depends on this definition. So a maximal path in a graph, G is a path P in that graph that is not contained within a longer path. That means this path cannot be extended. When the graph is finite means number of vertices and number of edges are finite. Then no path can extend forever. So maximal path always exists for any finite graph. जैसे ये अगर मैं ग्राफ को देखूं, if you look into this graph, then 1 4 4 5 is a path. But 1 4 4 5 is not a maximal path. Why it is not a maximal path? Because you can extend this path. 1 4 4 5 5 2 2 3. In this way you can extend it. But once you write 1 4 4 5 5 2 and 2 3, this is a maximal path. You cannot extend it. Because if you extend it, you try to extend it, it will again reach to some vertex in the graph itself. Okay. So यहाँ पे जैसे 1 4 4 3 3 2 2 5. This is another maximal path. Okay. So the notion of maximal path is basically non-extendable path, the path that cannot be extended further. Now, if it all the graphs that we deal day to day in our day to day life, they are called finite graphs. All practical graphs are finite graphs. Since it is a finite graph, maximal path exists. Okay. Now, you never think that maximal path is the longest path. Longest path is always a maximal path. That is true. Okay. From this figure, you may feel that, sir, maximal path is the longest path. No. I can give an example. Say, this is 3 to 6. This is a maximal path, but this is not the longest path. 3 to 6, this is a maximal path. This path cannot be extended, but it is not a longest path, because the longest path could be like maybe 1 to 4 5 or 6 to 4 5 or maybe 3 to 4 5. These are the longest path. There, if it is the longest path, it must be a maximal path, but the maximal path may not be a longest path. 6 to 3, this is a maximal path, but this is not the longest path. Okay. The only thing you have to understand that maximal path in a graph is a path that cannot be contained in a longer path. So you cannot make this path as a subset of a longer path. Okay. Okay. Now we learned another type of proof techniques, which is called proof by extremality. Okay. The problem is as follows.
Sir?
Yeah.
So by longer path, you mean the one which covers all vertex?
No. Longer path. जैसे मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ, जैसे 3 to 4 is a path, but this is not a maximal path because 3 to 4 5 is a path that contained the path 3 to 4.
Okay, sir.
3 to 4 is a path, and 3 to 4 is a path, it is okay, but it is not a maximal path because this path can be extended 3 to 4 5. So this 3 to 4 path, 3 to 4, this path is contained within a longer path which is 3 to 4 5.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So proof by extremality. If every vertex of a graph G has degree at least 2, then the graph has a cycle. If every vertex of a graph G has degree at least 2, then the graph has a cycle. ये हमको प्रूफ करना है. तो ये प्रूफ करने के लिए हम लोग प्रूफ बाय एक्सट्रीमलिटी का हेल्प लेंगे. तो कैसे हम प्रूफ करेंगे? इट इज अ वेरी नॉन ट्रिवियल प्रूफ. द वे वी प्रूव इट is something different. It's a nice proof. You say that let P be a maximal path in G. Since G is a finite graph, so if P, you can find a path which is a maximal path, and let U be an end point of P. तो मैक्सिमल पाथ के जो एक्सट्रीम टू एंड्स है, दे आर एंड पॉइंट्स. ओके, सो यू बी वन ऑफ देम. सिंस यू टेक दिस एग्जांपल, इन दिस एग्जांपल 1 4 3 2 5, this is a maximal path, and what are its end points? 1 is one end point, 5 is another end point. Okay, since P Since it is a maximal path, it cannot be extended. Since this path P cannot be extended, every neighbor of U must already be a vertex of P. जैसे 1 4 3 2 5, इसमें 1 या 5 किसी को तुम U मान लो, सपोज तुम 5 को मान लेते हो, सपोज तुम 5 को U मान लो, देन एवरी नेबर ऑफ 5 का क्या कौन कौन सा नेबर है, एक है 2, एक है 4, तो एवरी नेबर ऑफ U already be a vertex of this path. Why that is so? Why that is so? Every neighbor of U, why that will be a vertex in this path? Because if this is not the case, then this is not a maximal path. Suppose 5 का एक vertex है which is not there, which is not part of this path. Suppose 6 is that vertex. 6 such a vertex which is not, which is 6 is a vertex which is neighbor of 5, and that is not part of this path. In that case, why that cannot possible? Because if that kind of vertex exists, then we can extend this path from 5 to 6 and we get a longer path. So such vertex cannot exist. So let P be a maximal path in G, U be an endpoint of P, say 1 is U, okay, then every neighbor of it, every neighbor of 1 is in the path. तो 4 तो path में है ही, 2 भी path में है. Every neighbor of U must already be in P. Since U has degree 2, since 1 has degree 2, has degree at least 2, then it has a neighbor V in the path via an edge not in P. So 1 का 2 नेबर है, देखो एक है 4 एक है 2. 4 तो इस पाथ के ऊपर ही नेबर है and 1 4 is in the path itself, but 2 it is in the path, but 1 2 edge is not in the path, so it will create a cycle. Since U has a vertex, U has a degree at least 2, it has a neighbor V in the vertices of this path via an edge not in P. Via an edge not in P, there is like 1 2 here. This edge UV completes a cycle with the portion of P from V to U. So what it tells कि तो हम लोग G is a finite graph. Since G is a finite graph, we have a maximal path. इस मैक्सिमल पाथ के 2 एंड पॉइंट है, एक है U एक है V. मान लेते हैं कोई एक ही एंड पॉइंट को मैं ले लेता हूं, सपोज U is this end point, here it is 1. Now given is every vertex of the graph has degree at least 2. तो एक डिग्री इसमें एटलीस्ट 2 है, मान लेते 2 ही है, मान लेते एग्जैक्टली 2 ही है, तो एक डिग्री तो इस पाथ के ऊपर आ रहा है 1 4. दूसरी डिग्री जो है वो कहां पे आएगा, कोई दूसरे वर्टेक्स में आएगा, एंड दैट वर्टेक्स मस्ट बिलोंग टू दिस पाथ. तो इससे क्या होगा कि 1 4 3 2 ये तो पाथ में आ रहा था 1 4 3 2. Along with that is 1 to edge will create a cycle. That is something it is in. Since U has a degree at least 2, it has a neighbor V, that is it is the neighbor 2 via an edge, via the edge 1 2 that is not in the path P. Hence the edge UV, hence the edge 1 2 completes a cycle with the portion of the path P from V to U. That is 2 3 4 1. इसके साथ ये 1 2 एक पूरा साइकिल क्रिएट कर लेगा. द सेम थिंग इज ट्रू हियर आल्सो. 5 के लिए भी अगर देखोगे 5 इज एंड वर्टेक्स, 5 का एक वर्टेक्स पाथ के ऊपर ही है 2. 4 जो है 4 इज इन द पाथ but 5 4 edge is not in the path, so 5 4 will create a cycle with 5 2 3 4 5. so this is the cycle 5 2 3 4 5. इसमें 5 2 3 4 ये पाथ के हिस्से हैं, it is the portion of the path, and 5 4 is not in the path, so it creates a cycle. So that is how we use proof of extremality. Now a very important theorem and very interesting theorem. ये थ्योरम इसलिए इंटरेस्टिंग है क्योंकि इस थ्योरम का प्रूफ्स के अंदर हम लोग एल्गोरिदम यूज करते हैं. एक पार्ट में, we will see which part it is. The proof is, it is a famous theorem. A graph G is an Eulerian graph if and only if it has at most one non-trivial component and its vertices all have even degree. So we reread the statement. The first statement says G is Eulerian if and only if it has a single non-trivial component. Non-trivial component means the component of the graph having at least one single edge, having at least a single edge. Okay, single vertex cannot be a non-trivial component. So non-trivial component का definition ये है कि a component is non-trivial if it has at least one edge in it. So a graph G is Eulerian if it has at most one, maximum one non-trivial component, and its vertices all have even degree. जो नॉन ट्रिवियल कंपोनेंट है उसमें सभी वर्टेक्स का जो डिग्री है दैट इज इवन डिग्री. ये हम लोग प्रूफ करना है. तो फर्स्ट हम लोग ओनली इफ पार्ट को प्रूफ करेंगे. दैट मींस ओनली पार्ट का प्रूफ कैसे करेंगे? इफ जी इज Eulerian देन वी हैव टू प्रूव दैट इट हैज ए सिंगल नॉन ट्रिवियल कंपोनेंट वेयर एवरी वर्टेक्स हैज इवन डिग्री. तो हम लोग ये पार्ट करते हैं, दैट इज इजी. सपोज द ग्राफ जी इज Eulerian. From the definition of Eulerian graph, we know that since G is Eulerian, G has a closed trail C that contain all the edges. This second line is got from the definition itself. G has a closed trail C containing all the edges. Now जब ये closed trail C containing all the edges है, तो every passage of this closed trail C through a vertex uses two incident edges, and the first edge is paired with the last edge at the first vertex. Hence every vertex is of even degree. इसके लिए हम लोग एक एग्जांपल में जाते हैं. So you look into this graph. This is a Euler graph. What it tells, इसका क्लोज ट्रेल क्या होगा? मैं यहां पे एक बार क्लोज ट्रेल लिख देता हूं. Say 1, 4, maybe then 5. Then 2. Then again 4. Then again 3. Then again 2. Then again 1. So this is the closed trail. Now what it says in this closed trail, so this is my C. C is this closed trail. Every passage through a vertex, suppose आप 1 से जब चालू कर रहे हो, यहां से एक एज निकल रहा है 1 4. Now for all this intermediate vertex like 4, 5, 2 and 3, you come into this vertex through a edge. You leave this vertex through another edge. So you see here that x1 से मैं चालू किया, 1 4 से मैं गया, फिर 4 में मैं 1 4 से घुस रहा हूं, then 4 5 से निकल रहा हूं, 5 में 4 5 से घुस रहा हूं, 5 2 से निकल रहा हूं, 2 में 5 2 से घुस रहा हूं and 2 4 से निकल रहा हूं, 4 में 2 4 से निकल रहा हूं and 4 3 से, sorry 2 4 से घुस रहा हूं and 4 3 से निकल रहा हूं. 3 में I am entering through 4 3 and leaving through 3 2, and in 2 I enter into 3 2 and leave it through 2 1. It was the first vertex. So you follow here, every passage of C through a vertex uses two incident edges. Okay, and the first edge is paired with the last edge at the first vertex. So basically what it is saying, the first edge is 1 4 is paired with the last edge 2, 1. 1, 4 is paired with 2, 1 for this starting vertex. Hence, every vertex is of even degree. क्योंकि कोई भी when you design this passage, you move through a vertex. You enter the vertex through a particular edge, and you leave that vertex, and you do not repeat these edges. Right? It is a closed trail containing all the edges. Since it is a trail, you won't repeat the edge. Right? So since you won't repeat the edge, the same edge cannot be counted twice. So that is why we can say that every passage of C, since it is a closed trail, through a vertex uses 2 incident edges. And the first edge is paired with the last edge. At the first vertex. Hence, every vertex is of even degree. अभी मुझे प्रूफ करना है कि they belong to the same component. Also, 2 edges can be in the same trail C only when they lie in the same component. So there is at most one non-trivial component. तो हम लोग जब ये C मतलब ये पैसेज कर रहे थे, 2 and this C will, so every also 2 edges can be in the same trail only when they lie in the same component. So यहाँ पे चीज को कैसे हम प्रूव कर रहे हैं कि G is a Eulerian graph. Since G is Eulerian, G has a closed trail C containing all the edges. It is very important. G has a closed trail containing all the edges. Since all the edges are in the closed trail, they must be in the same component. So also 2 edges can be in the same trail. See, it talks about a single trail. 2 edges, this single trail will consider all the edges. So definitely it is only possible if they are in the same component. Okay. Okay, and that component must be non-trivial because we are talking about edges. This portion, this proof is very straightforward. The involved proof is the other way around. Now, what is the if part? If part says that suppose you are given a graph having a single non-trivial component and all its vertices is of even degree. So you are given a graph having a single non-trivial component and all vertices have even degree. Now your task is to prove that this graph is Eulerian. So if you want to prove that graph is Eulerian, इसका meaning ये है कि आपको you have to find out a closed trail C which will contain all the edges. That is something you need to do. So So it is done by proof by induction. So basically proof क्या करना है हम लोगों को? Proof ये करना है कि given a single non-trivial component where every vertex is of even degree, we have to prove that the graph is Eulerian. Proof by induction on the number of edges m. Suppose m is 0. Suppose m is 0, there is no edge at all. Then the closed trail consists of a single vertex. In that case, the closed trail is nothing but the single vertex itself. So it is proven. Induction theory, suppose this claim holds for number of edges less than m. That means if the number of edges is less than m, then we have an Euler graph following all these properties. So if number of edges is less than m in a non-trivial component and all vertices have even degree, then we know that it is a Eulerian graph. Now we have to prove it for m. So less than m it is true. Now if number of edges is m, what we do? Each vertex in the non-trivial component G has degree at least 2. क्यों? क्योंकि हमने बोला गया है कि हर एक वर्टेक्स का डिग्री है इवन. तो हम बोल सकते हैं कि each vertex in the non-trivial component has degree at least 2. From the previous theorem, we know that if every vertex is degree 2, then this non-trivial component has a cycle C. It is evident from the last proof. If every vertex of a graph has degree at least 2, then their component has a cycle C. Now what we do, let G prime be a graph that is obtained from the original graph G by deleting the edges of this cycle. So non-trivial component में हर एक vertex का degree है at least 2. Since they are even, so at least 2 हर एक का degree है, so we can find out a cycle. Now I will delete that cycle from that graph and I create a new graph G prime. Now since C is a cycle and each, so if it is a cycle, that is an even graph. It is the even graph. And the original graph that is given to me, that is also even graph. So G is a even graph, cycle is a even graph. So G minus C, that is the graph G prime is also even graph. Now, what is the number of edges in G prime? That must be less than M, because I have deleted this cycle C from here. Since it has less than M edges, we can apply the induction hypothesis to conclude that each component of G prime has an Eulerian circuit. Okay, so basically what we do, basically we say that कि अगर मुझे एक इवन ग्राफ दिया गया तो ये प्रूफ जो है, ये प्रूफ व्हाट इट एक्चुअली सिग्निफाइज. So initially we are given a non-trivial component where all vertices is of even degree. तो अगर एक non-trivial component है यार, हर एक vertex का even degree है, that means हर एक vertex का degree है at least 2. So we can found out a cycle, and if we delete that cycle, we will again get another even graph G prime. इसका मतलब यह है कि ये non-trivial component को, given this non-trivial component where each vertex have even degree, we can actually break this even component into cycles. That is the thing that is done in this proof. So ये graph जो G दिया गया है मुझे, the given graph G can be composed of different cycles. But what we have to prove? We have to prove that this graph G is Eulerian. In other words, how do we merge these cycles such that we get an Euler proof? I will repeat. So we are given a graph G where every vertex is even. From the earlier theorem, previous theorem, we know that this graph has a cycle. So we will remove that cycle first. Then we get another even graph. Since that is an even graph, we again get another cycle. And I remove that. So we one by one we are removing these cycles, and after some time there is no cycle in the graph. Okay. So when that is the case, we have few cycles in our hand. Now our objective is to stitch together these cycles in such a way that we can get an Euler cycle. So suppose this graph, इस ग्राफ में हम लोग ये प्रूफ लगाने के बाद क्या हुआ, 3 2 1 4 3, this is one even cycle, again 2 5 4 is another even cycle. Now my question is how to combine them to get an Euler trail. तो इसके लिए जो एल्गोरिदम है, that is called Fleury's algorithm. Okay, so that is the part of the proof that is written here. To combine these cycles into an Euler circuit of G, what we do? So we traverse C, but when a component of G prime is entered for the first time, we detour along an Eulerian circuit of that component. This circuit extends at the vertex where we began the detour. When we complete the traversal of C, we have completed Eulerian circuit. So ये पढ़ने से समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, हम लोग इस पे एक एग्जांपल सब लोग दिखाएंगे. So this was the graph and there are two cycles. ये green cycle और red cycle था. नाउ हम लोग इसको कैसे ट्रैवर्स करेंगे? हाउ डू वी कंबाइन दिस टू साइकिल्स टू ए ऑयलर टूर? सपोज हम लोगों ने 3 से विजिट चालू किया, तो हम लोग क्या करेंगे? 3 से 2 तक गए, with 3 we go to 2. Once I go to 2, I find that 2 में एक रेड साइकिल भी है, 2 से ग्रीन साइकिल तो कंटिन्यू हो ही रहा है, 2 में एक रेड साइकिल भी है। तो हम लोग क्या करेंगे कि we do a detour. From 3 we go to 2. From 2 we find that there is a new cycle which colored red. So we do a detour. So from 2 we go to 2 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 2. From 2 again we go to 1, then 4, then 3. So I will again repeat the step. From 3 to 2 we go. From 2 we find that a new red cycle comes. So 2 to 5, 5 to 4, but 4 may be a green cycle, but green cycle already we have visited. We have visited that green cycle. So we won't do a detour. We only detour if we find a new cycle. 3 to 2 we came, we find a new cycle, new red cycle. So we go to 2 to 5, 5 to 4. But 4 में मुझे green cycle मिला, but green cycle हम लोग already visit शुरू कर दिए हैं. So we won't bother. We complete this. 4 to 2 we go. Then from 2, we go to 1, then 1 to 4, and 4 to 3, and that's how we combine these cycles to an Euler circuit. Okay, so that is how we create the Euler cycle. So with this I end today's discussion, and we will again meet next Tuesday in the second half.
सर
या
तो जिधर पे पहला इंस्टेंस मिलेगा दूसरी साइकिल का, उधर से डिटूर मारना है।
कैन यू रिपीट? थोड़ा सा वॉइस ब्रेक हो रहा है.
सर आई एम ऑडिबल?
You are audible, but the voice is breaking a bit.
Sir, like if we start from 5, then
You start from 5, okay?
then at the first instance we meet at 4,
You go to 4,
and then we take a detour.
then you have to do detour, right? From 5 you go to 4, then you find a green cycle. So you go to 4 to 3, 3 to 2, 2 to 1, 1 to 4, then you go to 2, then come back to 5.
Can this be done in multiple cycles also?
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's take an example. Just और एक example मैं बता देता हूँ. इसको ही ले लेते हैं, नहीं तो बहुत कॉपी पेस्ट करना पड़ेगा. सपोज इसके साथ 1 3 सब इवन है, अभी इवन ग्राफ बनाना पड़ेगा. अच्छा, इसको मैं काम करता हूँ, यहाँ पे नहीं 2 में डाल देता हूँ, उससे थोड़ा सा और भी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड हो जाएगा. अभी देखो यहाँ पे सपोज कहाँ से चालू कर रहा हूँ, 3 से चालू कर रहा हूँ. 3 to 2 you go. Once you come to 2, you see that there are 2 new cycles. One is 254, another is 276. You can go anywhere. Suppose you go to 2 5 5 to 4, you see there is a green cycle, but that is already visited, already started visiting, so you won't consider it. So you will complete your task. 2 to 5 5 to 4 5 to 2. Once you come back to 2, you see another new cycle, so you go by that 2 7 6 2. Then you will continue here. Now there is no new cycle, so you go to 2 to 1 1 to 4 and 4 to 3, and that's how it is being completed. It will always happen. So मैं delete कर देता हूँ इसको. So that is how things are working. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you. So next week हम लोग meet करेंगे. तो मैं ये कार्डवाटेक्स का अभी मेल कर देता हूँ आप लोगों को. Bye.
Thank you, sir.